Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of NYFP. There are some innovative and creative tech products out there that make you think, why didn't I think of that? So today I'm joined by Matt DiMaria, who is the CEO of iFi. Now iFi is the world's first wireless memory card, and he joins me today here at the NASDAQ market site to tell us more about the product. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Romy. Great to be here.
So first and foremost, could you tell me how iFi works?
Absolutely. iFi is really all about taking the great cameras that people have and bringing them into the age of connected photography. So we can take an existing camera, existing digital camera, you put our SD card inside of it, and it's enabled with wireless connectivity. So every picture that you take on your camera can be automatically transferred via a Wi-Fi connection to wherever you'd like it to go, onto your smartphone, onto your PC, up to the cloud, so that you can edit it, store it, share it with whoever you choose.
And Matt, when we talk about technology products, there are so many changes happening in the sector alone.
Yes.
And when we talk about digital imaging, I still remember back in the day when 1 hour photo development used to be something considered an innovation. And now that we have social networking sites, it's more about sharing. So what are some of the trends you're seeing in the industry?
Well, as you said, I think the biggest transition is the use of the smartphone as primarily a photography device. And increasingly what we're seeing is consumers picking phones based on the quality of the camera that is on the phone. Sure. And that's obviously exciting for us because we're real passionate about photography as well. In fact, our customers on average own 3 digital cameras and in addition to their smartphone. So they tend to be photo enthusiasts. And making those things work together in a very seamless way is really where we see there being a tremendous opportunity.
And Matt, while we're sticking with the digital imaging industry, I also want to ask you about the technology behind this Wi-Fi product. Are there any challenges right now?
Our original technology, we founded by a wonderful group of entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley who were able to take SD card technology, a standard SD card, and add to it a wireless radio. And so there's Wi-Fi hotspot on there, so you can directly address it from your connected device. And as we go into new geographies and so forth, for example, entering China or other markets, there is a regulatory compliance phase that we go through because we are using radio spectrum. But by and large, one of the benefits of standardization in Wi-Fi is that we can have a product that can work all over the world. And not really encounter some of the challenges that would be associated, for example, with having to connect up to a cellular network where you're working with the carriers and a different part of the radio spectrum that gets a little bit more complex in terms of licensing. So far we've been quite fortunate. Regulatory compliance and things of that sort has not been a real impediment for us launching new products.
And before we move away from your corporate structure, could you tell me a little bit about some of the investors?
Sure. Our investors include venture capital firms, Opus Capital, Shasta Ventures, and TransLink Capital, as well as a strategic investment from NTT Docomo, who's one of the leaders, of course, in the mobile communications and mobile device arena. So they've been really those 3 original VCs have been with the company pretty much since the start, and Docomo coming in more recently last year.
And last but not least, Matt, before we wrap it up for today's interview, I do want to ask you specifically about your background and some of the strengths you bring to the company. So given that you've been in tech for a while, what are some trends you're seeing on the horizon?
Well, I think the importance of design obviously is not lost on tech companies these days. Apple has given the entire industry a wonderful example to follow in terms of really making products that are very easy to set up, very easy to use. We certainly are trying to implement that in our product line, and some of our upcoming products you'll see. Just trying to really dramatically streamline how quickly you get up to speed in using a new technology. And in areas like networking, where there can be complexity for consumers, that can be particularly challenging, but the reward is terrific for consumers because we want them to just be able to pick up the product, put it on their device of choice and just enjoy the benefits. So that obviously, in the face of new devices coming on market, new use cases, social networking and so forth, is the challenge ultimately, is how do we bring elegant design and yet deal with some of the complexities associated with some of these products that do magical things on a fairly regular basis.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon and telling me more about iFi, and I look forward to hearing more about your products. Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.